Creating a news agenda that reflects an unbiased view of Asian current affairs without relying on external news sources. Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes. For over 30 years, we have been getting stronger and faster. This year alone, we have added 4 new members, increasing our total to 30 members, contributing and exchanging news material every day. But our influence is just not limited to the region. We have been expanding our network across the globe. In the Middle East and Northern Africa, we have Sister Union, Arab States Broadcasting Union, sharing news with us daily. In Europe, we exchange news with over 60 different European broadcasters, and in America, CNN receives news materials from AVN and broadcasts them all over the world. Asian news is changing faster and having more of an impact on global affairs than ever before. Through improvements in technology, journalists are able to submit and access more news stories and receive updates faster through our newly integrated internet-based platform. The new internet platform has made it easier to contribute and access current news events, and the rise of membership participation has led to a dramatic increase of items being exchanged over the last year. With the exchange of news comes the exchange of ideas. Members can also benefit from AVN journalist workshops and attachment schemes in our bid to create partnerships, spread knowledge, and elevate standards. So, contribute your views in global affairs and join us as we document history in the making. Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.
Hello and welcome to AVN News with me, Fatma Sara. Taif is the first channel for women in Palestine, which is broadcast from the besieged Gaza Strip. The channel focuses on issues related to women and mostly hires women. Hala Al-Safadi reports from Gaza.
Taif is the first channel of its kind in Palestine, which aims to shed light on Palestinian women as an integral part of the social fabric and on their role in building the Palestinian society. Taif was launched a month ago in the besieged Gaza, despite all the difficulties.
Taif
is dedicated to Palestinian women. Women are the cornerstone of Palestinian families. We always say that if we invest in women, we invest in the whole society. Our goal is to focus on the positive and strong features of women. We focus on women who are intellectual and creative. We are here to show their capability, whether at the leadership, social, or political levels.
This channel is mainly managed and run by experienced women in the field of media and communications. The expertise of a few male technicians is still needed until they are replaced with experienced female counterparts.
Our guests are talented women who discuss social issues. We also shed light on topics related to health, beauty, and international developments. Our channel speaks to women about their important role in the society and the changes they can bring about.
The channel is currently being broadcast on social media platforms and is in the process of turning into a satellite channel once it receives the needed funds.
Palestinian women are creative. They just need to receive appropriate support. As a channel specializing in women's affairs, we advocate for their rights in all fields.
The entire staff at Taif volunteer their time and work. As a channel targeting women, Taif is ranked first in Palestine and second in the Arab world. Taif is the outcome of the individual efforts of women. These women have come together to defeat the stereotype of Palestinian women set by mainstream Western media outlets. Hala Safadi, Press TV Gaza.
A new coalition of tech giants and conservationists is looking to drastically reduce the amount of wild and often endangered animals that are trafficked via online services. As Veronica Baldaras Iglesias reports, they hope to cut 80% of the illegal trade by the end of the decade.
The annual value of the illegal wildlife trade is estimated to be more than $20 billion worldwide. And the tendrils of this black market, the 5th most profitable, have already entered the web.
because it's more anonymous and it's much easier to trade to a bigger global market. The sorts of wildlife that you see illegally traded are things like elephant ivory, marine turtle shells or kerry, even marine turtle eggs, pangolins, the most trafficked mammal in the earth.
Setting their sights on reducing the illegal online trade of these animals by 80% by 2020, the World Wildlife Fund has teamed up with a number of tech giants,
including eBay, Etsy, Microsoft, Google, Alibaba, Tencent, sorts of companies that really have a massive global reach and have presence all over the world. What we're doing here is setting in place a series of policies and procedures to define exactly what is a prohibited item.
Although it was officially launched at the beginning of March, the coalition of private sector tech companies has been experimenting with the strategy for 2 years. And eBay senior manager Mike Carson told VOA it already has concrete results to show for it.
In 2017 alone, we blocked or removed over 45,000 listings on eBay that violate our policy on parts from endangered or threatened species.
Part of this strategy has been to educate clients about the laws and restrictions on these animals.
In those cases where people are actively trying to circumvent our filters, we take harsher action. We can suspend them either temporarily or completely from the site. And we do work with law enforcement as well in certain situations if there's a criminal activity going on.
The members of the coalition are also planning to establish joint alert systems to better counteract the traffickers should they change their modes of operation. Verónica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News.
While wind turbines and solar cells generate power only when there is wind and sun, most rivers always flow and most ocean shores always experience tidal currents.
On the fast-flowing Kvichak River close to the remote Alaskan village of Igiagig, a large horizontal turbine with 2 sets of blades is slowly being positioned into place. Its pontoons soon were flooded, sinking the whole construction to the shallow bottom where the river current will provide power for village residents. The turbine system, called RivGen, is manufactured by Ocean Renewable Power Company, ORPC.
It's got a very low vertical profile, so it allows us to deploy our technology in sites that are much shallower than anybody else can do.
RivGen turbines work at depths of about 5 meters, generating up to 50 kilowatts, usually enough to power small communities. Sauer says the turbines are very safe for the environment.
At the peak of salmon season, we had almost 2 million fish pass by this thing. At the end of all of that, we did not have a single fish injury that we knew about.
Horizontally positioned turbines can be scaled to larger dimensions, such as this one, deployed not in a river, but in Maine's Cobscook Bay, known for its strong tidal currents. The design is especially efficient here.
With cross-flow turbines, it doesn't matter whether the water is coming or going. They always rotate in the same direction.
The larger TideGen turbine can generate up to 600 kilowatts. Its voltage varies as the tide ebbs and flows, but with additional electronics it can be stabilized and synchronized to interact with the main grid. With a projected price of about 50 cents per kilowatt hour, the system is not competitive with natural gas, but for remote communities where diesel generators can cost more than $1 per hour, energy from flowing water could be more economical. George Putic, VOA News.
Scientists are always on the lookout for affordable and efficient methods for capturing carbon dioxide responsible for global warming and the rising of acidity of seawater.
Dr. Alison Parkin, a lecturer at the University of York, collects seawater in Whitby Harbour in northern England. Back in her lab, the technicians filter the water, pour it into a dish, insert electrodes made of graphite, and start electrolysis.
We found that when we wrapped this in aluminium, what we could manage to do is we could pull the carbon dioxide from out of a gas mixture into sodium chloride or seawater solution and make a white solid, which is then stored carbon. And what we've realised is that this is a really energy efficient and hopefully highly scalable method of managing to trap carbon dioxide.
Atoms of aluminum pieces floating in seawater bind with carbon dioxide molecules. When the water is poured off, what is left is a white sludge containing a mineral called dawsonite, rich in CO2. Scientists say aluminum could come from collected metal waste.
If you look at the amounts of aluminium and iron which are not recycled every year, then you're looking at tens of millions of tons of aluminium.
But the process also requires energy. North offers this solution.
Sunlight to provide the electricity, or a wind turbine, some renewable source of electricity, is all you need to make the technology go.
Another byproduct of this process is hydrogen, useful for fuel cells that already power some electric vehicles. Researchers say an industrial-sized facility could mineralize as much as 850 tons of CO2 annually. George Butich, VOA News.
Researchers warn it could be cheaper to operate a factory of robots in the United States than employing manual labor in Africa. That is the stark conclusion of a report from the Overseas Development Institute, which warns automation could have a devastating effect on developing economies unless governments invest urgently in digitalization and skills training. Henry Ridgewell has more.
Outsourcing production by using cheap labour in the developing world has underpinned the global economy for decades, but technology could be about to turn that on its head. Research from the Overseas Development Institute focused on the example of furniture manufacturing in Africa.
In the next 15 to 20 years, robots in the US are actually going to become much cheaper than Kenyan labour, particularly in the furniture manufacturing industry. So this means that around 2033, American companies will find it much more profitable to reshore production back, which means essentially get all the jobs in production back from the developing countries to the US. And that obviously, can have very significantly negative effects for jobs in Africa.
As robots are getting cheaper, people are getting more expensive.
The cost of a robot or the cost of a 3D printer, they're declining at similar levels, around 6% annually. So, that's a significant decline, whereas wages in developing countries are rising.
By 2038, the ODI predicts it will be cheaper to make clothing in the United States using robots than to import it from Ethiopia. Last year, sports giant Adidas invested in automated plants in Germany and the United States, including using 3D printers to make these sneakers.
That has led to a loss of like 1,000 jobs in Vietnam till now, and that's going to be significantly increased in the future.
Adidas bosses say they do not envisage further large-scale reshoring of jobs, but there is no doubting the challenges posed by automation to manual labour in developing countries. Some are fighting back. Kenyan firm FunKids has invested heavily in computer-aided design and manufacturing of furniture.
Using these technologies, they've been able to achieve impressive growth, and they've also expanded to regional markets like Rwanda and Uganda.
FunKids' CEO says the government needs to match her firm's enthusiasm for technology.
We have machines that sit idle because we don't have skilled people. There's many people who need jobs, yes, we agree. But if they have no skill, I'd love to employ you, but you need a skill. Otherwise, you cannot operate our machines. So we are urging all institutions, government, please, let's take this skills gap as a crisis.
That call is echoed by the ODI report authors, who urge African governments to use the current window of opportunity to build industrial capabilities and digital skills before the jobs crunch hits. Henry Ridgewell for VOA News, London.
With that, that's it for AVN News for now. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.
Asia Vision, Asian news through Asian eyes.